Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video.
Now, we did lose a little bit of the video that was included with the introduction to this video. If you haven't guessed by the title, we're doing a 3 looks, 1 palette with the Yucca palette. I know that this has been a long time coming. I did do a full review video for you. That was a first impression. And I also did a full swatch comparison video of the Yucca palette compared to some other palettes that are on the market right now. So today we are doing a 3 looks, 1 palette with the Yucca palette. I do suggest you go check out some of the other videos on the Yucca palette. And if you guys like unfiltered makeup opinions and honest reviews, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into these looks with the Yucca palette.
Look number one, we're going to do Ixia, which is this like salmony color. We're using a Singe EO3. We're going to put this in the crease. Okay, we're going to take the Singe EO2. This is like a outer corner into the crease brush. Great for some detail. And I'm going to take this shade right here, Flax. This is like a very dark brownish green shade. I'm going to pack this on the outer corner. At first, that shade was having a little bit of difficulty, but then I kind of like maneuvered it so it did work well on the eye. I am gonna just make sure it's even. Really pretty shade, just like a cool tone brown shade. It's not anything, I mean, like it's just a neutral brown. And now I'm gonna use this shade right here. It is called Macchia. Macchia? This is like a green foil. Ooh, and it has a little bit of like a yellowy undertone. That's really pretty. There's a little bit of fallout, but that's okay. So I'm going to take the Singe EO1. This is like the perfect inner corner brush, and I'm still going to dip into Macchia and pack this into the inner corner and kind of create like a line. So I'm going to use the Sigma switch and clean off this brush. And then I'm going to put a little pop of color with Camu Camu, which is this like neon-y green shade. This is going to go right in the inner corner. Again, we're using the EO1. I just cleaned it off real quick. And this is like a neon-y green matte shade. I'm going to use the EO4 from Singe Beauty. This is like my perfect like under lash line brush. And we are going to use Camu Camu again, which is that green we put on the inner corner. We're going to take this, put it all across the lower lash line. And it's more of like a wash of color, not so packed on. So I'm going to try stamping this in. And then I'm going to use the EO4 and just really blend it right into the dark shade right here. That's it. That's all I'm going to do for my eyeshadow look. Some really simple shades that we're using. I'm going to spray my face before I put my mascara on. I'm using the Lasting Fix from Maybelline. And then I'm just going to put some mascara on and we'll be back to take a look at the finished eyeshadow look with mascara. Here is look number one with the Yucca palettes, aside from the one that I did in my full review. But here is look number one, really simple, just a couple of shades and you get this gorgeous look. Look number one, and here comes look number two. Okay, we are back with another look, different day, obviously because of the change in outfit, the change in hair. And we're going to be doing another look with the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Yucca palette. So we're going to dive right back into this palette, create another look. I'm going to be using the Sigma Beauty Tapered Blending Brush. This is the E40 brush. And today I think we're going to focus more on like something more orangey yellow with like pops of green. because we haven't touched any of those shades yet. So we're gonna dip into the shade right here. It's Ixia. This is like a salmony shade. And I'm gonna use this as the transition shade. Surprise, surprise, I'm not using a Singe Beauty brush. And now we're gonna use this shade right here. It's called Fushi, and I think this is a creamed powder formula because when I swatched it, it was like kind of hard to swatch. So we're gonna use my Singe Beauty EO5. This is a smaller detailed brush, and I'm gonna use this to maybe carve out like my entire lid. If it's a cream to powder, which I'm pretty sure it is, then it's not really gonna give me any kickback in the pan. I found when I was swatching this that it was just super hard. It's applying decently well with this brush. It's picking it up nicely, it's blending out. So I'm gonna use my Sigma switch. This is like the travel size one. And we're just going to clean off my EO5. I still want to use this one because it's going to be really detailed. And we're going to use Willow, which is the shade right here. I have used this shade before. I just want to put this on the outer corner right here and see how this blends in with the yellow, if it muddies or if it stays like true to its color. So it is turning more of like a brighter green, which that's to be expected because it's going over a yellow. And then just doing kind of a sweep in. I'm going to take a clean brush. It's actually stained, but it's clean. I just washed it. This is the Sigma E24, and I'm just going to lightly brush the lid. I just want to make sure that these shades are really nicely blended together before we add. We're going to put a shimmer because I love shimmers. I don't like matte looks. We're going to use this shade right here. It's called Como Rebi, something like that. And this is a true gold shimmer. And this should cling relatively well to that cream to powder. I like the way that the gold is popping on that cream shadow. It's like pop. And for the lower lash line, I am going to use Fushi again, that cream to powder on an EO4 from Singe Beauty. So I don't really see any fallout, just like me and not blending right. So we're just going to clean that up a little bit. But other than that, for like this round of shadow, there wasn't any fallout. I'm just finding that that yellow cream to powder is really hard to work with. Like it feels hard. It doesn't feel like spongy like some of her other cream to powders, like almost waxy feeling to an extent. Like when I swatch it, when I put it on my eye, it feels weird. So I'm going to put on some lashes, mascara, and then we'll be back to see what this eyeshadow is looking like. Here is another look with the Yucca palettes, and we used a lot of like yellows and like that sandy, salmony, almost like orangey shade in here to create this look today, and then also, Willow, which is like that almost turquoisey color. And I like the way that this turned out. It's very clean. It's very like everyday looking. And I could go a little bit more like over the top if I wanted to and add a little bit more depth in there, but we're going to do something a little bit more. We're going to leave it like this. Everyday, not so glitzy, not so glammy. I've done quite a few like glitzy, glammy looks right now, and this one's more like everyday for me. Okay, we are down to the last look with the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona. Today we're going to do something a little bit more like neutral leaning, even though this is like a green neutral palette. And I really want to use this shade today. It's called Elysian. So we're going to try using that shade. Just something kind of grungy. I'm wearing like camouflage today. That's what it reminds me of. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to start with Ixia, which is this shade. And I have a super fluffy brush from Moda. It is the M16, and we're going to use this fluffy brush to really diffuse the product across my lid because I want it to be like a blown out color. Very simple and easy to blend out. And now I want to use Fuchsia, which is this like cream to powder. I did use this in my second look, but I'm going to, I think it's a cream to powder. I don't know. It confuses me like 90% of the time because sometimes it's a cream, sometimes it's just very hard panned no matter what it is. And I'm taking my EO2 from Singe, and we're going to place this like on the lower part of the crease, and we're going to blend it in with Ixia. I'm going to take my Sigma switch. I'm going to clean off my brush like so. And then I'm going to use this shade over here. It is called Flax. It's that dark, dark brown shade. And we're going to lightly build up just on the outer corner with the EO2 from Singe. Now I'm going to take my EO1. I'm going to take my EO1 from Singe Beauty. We're going to wet this down and we're going to pick up Elysian, which is that like grayish shimmery shade. Wetted both sides of my brush. We're going to use Elysian, which is this shade right here. It's a very like grungy, cool toned shimmer. And we're going to put this right on the center of the lid. I'm getting a little bit of fallout, but not like too terribly bad. It's going on the eye really nicely, not texturizing at all. It built up really nicely, and I'm just like patting this on my lid. Just layer after layer after layer until I get it to like an opacity that I like. I'm going to take my little switch and clean off the EO1. And then we're going to take my spray again. This is the e.l.f. Glow Dewy Mist. It has coconut oil and argan oil in it. I have found it really grips the shadows and it really helps like apply them. And then we're going to use Plantasia on the inner corner. This shade is so pretty. It's like a duochrome, more almost like a multi-chrome. It goes from like a green to a yellow to a pink. So it's just a really pretty like wash of iridescent color on my lid. That's really pretty like on the inner corner. And I feel like it blends really, really well with the Elysian color. I'm going to take my Singe Beauty EO4 brush and we're going to use Acacia, which is this shade right in here. And I'm just going to shade the lower lash line. I want like a little pop of green with not like too much. And I think this is just going to give me enough oomph like that. So here's the eyeshadow look. I'm going to put on some mascara and then I will be right back. We'll see. Pardon Medusa. She's all over the place today. It's 80 degrees and humid outside, so my hair is just like, it's like all over the place. Like I can't. I'm just going to spray my face with some SPF because I actually am going to be outside in a little bit and my hair is probably going to be like all over the place again. But I'm using a Milani Make It Last with sunscreen. Here is the third look with the Yucca palette. And today we just did something a little bit more like neutral, very, very neutral, less green than what I've been doing in a couple of my other eye looks. You guys want to see more like 3 looks, 1 palette, then leave me a comment down below. I'm working on a few. And I just put up a whole review of the Jords Divine collection, the Stone and Rock palette versus the Jewels and Gems palette. So if you guys want to see more looks with that as well, leave me a comment down below. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Please consider subscribing and I will see you in my next video. Bye.